Greetings of peace. Welcome to this video that introduces the monthly teleclass for October entitled Finding Your Heart's True Purpose. In this video, I'm going to describe to you the 3 places that I see people getting lost when seeking purpose in their lives. As always, this video and teleclass is meant to be a support for members of the online Rue Healing Program and will allow you to dive deeper into the topics and hopefully discover some new insights. Most people realize that it's difficult to experience real happiness and fulfillment when we're missing a sense of purpose and meaning in our lives. Now, unfortunately, the first mistake most people make when seeking purpose is from this state of unhappiness. They say to themselves, if I can just find my purpose, then I'll be happy. Now, unfortunately, this is putting the cart before the horse. Rather, what we need to say is, I refuse to accept anything in my life that doesn't make me happy. And when we do this, the road of purpose opens up before us. The poet Rumi said that there's no reason we need to seek love. We simply must break down the barriers that we've constructed between us and it. What we're doing with this intention, when we refuse to accept any situation in our life that's not fulfilling, is we're emptying our heart's cup. When our heart's cup is full of the subtle compromises that come from a life that doesn't truly fulfill us, there's no room for a life of purpose to really reach us. So the first thing we must do is empty this cup by making a declaration that I refuse to live a life that doesn't contain purpose, and I will not accept any situation that does not have that sense of deep meaning and purpose in my life. When we do that, this road opens up before us. Once we've made this strong inner statement to ourselves that we refuse to accept a life in which we're not experiencing purpose and meaning, this road of purpose is going to open up before us. But what's also going to be happening is suddenly we're going to become aware of all the areas in our lives in which we're not experiencing this purpose. Now, this can be a very painful and difficult thing to face. And the second mistake I see people seeking purpose making is they spend more time thinking about the lives they wish they had, or daydreaming about what they wish they were doing instead of facing the reality of what they have today. Now, the other way we can distract ourselves from this is, to come home from work and have a drink, or to distract ourselves into television, or some other way to take our minds off the fact that our lives do not have the meaning and purpose that we truly long for them to have. If we're going to begin to live a life of purpose, we have to begin with the life we have today and ask ourselves, what about the life we have is not purposeful? What about the lives we're living don't feel like they have meaning? What's going on that doesn't feel purposeful or meaningful in our lives? And that brings us into relationship with the real problems and allows us to start with the lives that we're actually living today instead of distracting ourselves and living in our daydreams or fantasies. Now that we've made this strong internal intention, where we say, I refuse to live any life but one of purpose and meaning, we've opened this road of purpose before us. We've taken time to face the painful reality of the areas of our lives in which that's missing, in which we don't feel that meaning. This is where I see people make the third mistake. What they'll do is they'll say, well, if this area of my life is where I'm not feeling meaning, then I have to change it. But unfortunately, they've forgotten that there was a someone who made choices, decisions, took actions, and thought thoughts that all resulted in this life that they're not happy with. So before we go about changing our lives in order to find purpose, we have to change ourselves, the ones who made the choices that led to the life we're currently living. Now, this is where the Rue process really comes in handy. Because what we do with the Rue process is we allow these problems, these places in our current life where we're not feeling meaning and purpose, to reveal to us the mistaken identities who thought the thoughts and feelings, took the actions that led us to this place in the first place. What we're doing now is, rather than just trying to change our life, we're changing the who that's living our lives. We can't suddenly just start living a life of purpose or discover deeper meaning in our lives without changing ourselves and the one who's making choices, decisions, and perceiving our own realities. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says to themselves, today I think I'm going to live without purpose. These mistaken identities are often subtle compromises that live in our unconscious. And when we allow our problems to reveal them to us, suddenly we have choice about them. By making them conscious and becoming aware of them, we can open them to divine help. Through divine help, we can discover who we truly are, or reawaken the true sense of ourselves and move through these problems and become our inspired self. Now, from the inspired self, we're going to think new thoughts, have new feelings, take new actions, which are going to result in a new reality. It's this inspired self that has the capacity to discover a life of purpose and meaning. As long as we're unconsciously living out our mistaken identities, that road will always remain elusive. So in summary, there are 3 steps to discovering a life of real purpose. The first is to make that strong intention inside that says, I refuse to live a life that's not purposeful. I will only stop and be satisfied with true fulfillment and meaning in my life. That opens that road. The second thing is to become conscious of the areas of our lives that we're not experiencing that purpose. If we're not feeling purposeful, then why not? What's happening instead? In this way, we discover these problems. We use these problems to uncover our mistaken identities, the unconscious compromises and limited ideas about ourselves that led to a life that was less than purposeful. Finally, we allow the divine to help us transform this and become our inspired selves so that we can take actions, perceive our world, and think thoughts that can't help but result in purpose, fulfillment, and meaning. Essentially what I'm saying is that many people have it backwards. They're trying to find purpose so they can follow it to happiness, instead of following happiness to purpose. When we make this strong intention to only accept purpose in our lives, a life of purpose, one that really fulfills us, this road of happiness opens before us. Now, one problem after another, we're going to be unlocking the parts of ourselves that have unconsciously led to a life that lacks meaning. And as we tear down these walls one after another, the road of purpose will suddenly be wide open and we'll be living the lives that we're being called to live. I hope you can join me for this month's teleclass. In the teleclass, I'll be expanding on the principles that I shared with you today and giving practical examples of how you can use these tools to discover real purpose in your own life. These teleclasses are free to members of the RU Online Healing Program and are meant to work hand in hand with the online lectures, the RU Online Healing Tool, and the one-on-one work with the certified practitioners. If you haven't signed up yet, go to www.liveru.com. Check out the free healing tutorial. Find out if this program's a fit for you. We're working to create a community of people who are intending to live the lives the divine is calling them to live while unlocking the treasures within their own heart. I look forward to taking the next step with you. Blessings.